So today we are talking about Genesis 5 and 6. So would you like to give me a little bit quick overview before we ask questions and get deeper into the word?
So Genesis 5, that's your genealogy. It's going through from Adam down to Noah and it lists off the names of the generations. A lot of times we look at those and we're just like, yeah, let me just skip over that. And
That was
let's move
me.
on.
That was me.
And let's move on from there. But there's some good stuff to glean from that. And then Genesis 6 is where we get the fall of man, real fall of man, and the Most High's judgment and the decision to flood the earth.
Which is a crazy story too.
Yes.
We're about to get into. Why do you think the genealogy of Noah is so important?
So genealogy is important in general because it gives you history. It gives you context. You learn a lot and glean a lot from that. And when we eventually get to like Genesis 10, 11, where we see the three sons and how they split, it explains our life today and how things come about. And interestingly, in Genesis 5, we're given those names, and those names have meaning. And those names also have a prophecy kind of attached to them and a kind of
Interesting.
foretelling. So-
Okay. I didn't read it that way, but what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So when you read so Adam's name means man, Seth means appointed. You got Enosh, sorry, that means
Yeah.
mortal, and Kenan, that means sorrow. Mahalo, which means the blessed God. Jared means shall come down. Enoch means teaching. Methuselah means his death shall bring. Lamech means despairing or the despairing, and Noah means comfort and rest. So when you
Interesting.
put that all together, you get man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down teaching, his death shall bring comfort and rest.
What?
But,
What?
so,
That is very interesting.
yep.
How did you figure that out?
How did I figure? I didn't figure that completely out. Someone else did in Earth on Hebrew. When you have the names,
Yeah.
all names have meaning to them, and you attach name, and the scriptures mention those names, and the scriptures will also say that those names mean something.
Yeah.
So when you read about them, you'll see it. When you get down to even Noah's father, Lamech, he knew that Noah was going to bring rest. So that's why he named him that.
Yeah.
There was a little prophecy attached near the end of chapter 5 talking about that, because he's seen the way the earth was headed, and we will talk about that when we talk about Genesis 6, the direction that it was heading, and that through Noah, the Most High was going to bless the earth.
Yeah. That is very interesting. Okay, so and that was very interesting, but before we go deeper into the Bible, I know that you mentioned something about Enoch, right?
Yes.
That was the genealogy from Enoch to all the way down, right? Enoch lived until 65 years, and he had babies, right?
Yeah, he had Methuselah.
You're right. And then after that, the Bible says that he walked with God, right? And then he lived for another 300 years,
Yes.
right? And interestingly enough, the whole total years that he lived on this earth was 365 years, and then God took him, right? I'm guessing he took him to heaven. Why is that so interesting? And why do you think that God took him away without him going through death?
Good question. There's a lot of speculation on that. The 365 years, kind of like 365 days in the year, that's a little... I don't know if that was a coincidence or not.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a bit reading into it, but he was righteous. He walked with the Most High, and I guess his righteousness was so great that the Most High took him.
Yeah.
And from him, of course, we get the Book of Enoch, which becomes very controversial. And should that be scripture or should that not be? I think it's something that everyone should read, but some people may disagree with that.
I mean, God found favor in him, and he was literally the only, even Jesus, right, had to go through death. So he was the only one out of the whole...
Two.
Well, who was the second one?
You got to remember Elijah. Elijah was
I haven't got to that part yet. I haven't got to that part yet.
Okay.
But so far,
Yes.
he's the only one that God found, hey, this person right here, this human being right here, he walked with me, and I will take him
Mm-hmm.
without him going through death, right? So why would you not want to read the book that he wrote or the book that he put out to explain exactly what's going on this earth?
Yeah. So one of the big issues with the Book of Enoch is it was roughly written around 200 BC,
Okay.
which is long after Enoch was taken away. So it was not written at the time of Enoch, and
Okay.
the author is unknown. So although the author takes on the name Enoch,
Yeah.
no one can prove that it was actually Enoch who
Enoch,
wrote
okay.
that book.
Mm-hmm.
And the Book of Enoch is broken down into 3 books. It's 3 books, and that complete set is called the Book of Enoch. But really, there's controversy. Enoch 1 was found with like the Dead Sea Scrolls and with other scriptures. Enoch 2 was written later,
Okay.
different language. And then Enoch 3 was written much later. And I wouldn't waste time reading that because there's a lot of like Gnosticism stuff
What does
attached
that
to it.
mean?
Gnosticism is like hidden knowledge and secret. They're kind of like secret society stuff who believe in esoteric stuff. And so
Okay.
you go into things of like astrology. So things that would fall into that would be like astrology and witchcraft, sorcery, and
Yeah.
finding this deeper meaning, deeper knowledge. And it kind of goes back to what the serpent tempted Eve with. Knowledge and understanding.
Yeah.
And when we get to the fallen angels, what did they give man?
Knowledge of
Knowledge,
things.
stuff,
Yeah.
and stuff that they were not supposed to mess around with because it led
Got
to
it.
sin.
Yeah.
Is all.
Got it. That was very interesting. So I mean, I always thought that Enoch's book was written by him. Like he wrote everything down as he was going through them. Like God taking him up, he's seeing all this stuff, and he decided to write them down so that way we can learn from it. I never knew that the author was unknown.
Yeah. And it's possible that he did write that or
Yeah.
he did give that off because we're not fully told. If you take away that Book of Enoch, we don't know what happened to Enoch
Right.
because the scriptures don't mention Enoch anymore.
I figured,
There's
yeah.
later on they'll like mention him in passing, but they don't mention what happened with his life. Did he come back to earth? We don't know that. The scriptures don't say that. Or if
Yeah.
you're subscribed to the canon, the biblical canon, it doesn't say that.
Yeah. But it did say he was no more.
It
right?
says he was no
So-
more. He was taken. So the scriptures are very clear that he was taken away. It does not say that he came back. And one of the arguments some people will talk about and make is, well, if everyone's appointed to die, that means that he must have come back and died. So there is some people who will make that argument, or that he's scheduled to die, or when you get to Revelation and it talks about the 2 witnesses, there's 2 witnesses that are called up. Some people speculate that, oh, Enoch might be one of them because those 2 witnesses are prophesying during the tribulation and they get killed. And then that would fulfill the everyone has died set, or everyone's appointed to die kind of deal.
Yeah.
But that's all, once again, speculation and reading into it. But I think the Book of Enoch offers a lot of useful, especially Enoch 1. It gives a lot of insight.
Okay.
And whether you consider it scripture or not, it's clear that the Messiah and the apostles knew of it or make reference to it.
Okay.
So you read where you hear about, oh, the angels are in heaven not able to marry or not given into marriage. That comes from Enoch 15.
Interesting.
So Enoch 15 talks about that.
I mean, they also mention in the, I think Matthew, when they talk about after we pass away from this earth, there will be not marry or husband and wife. So
Yeah, and that's the Messiah talking about that, and he's making a reference to Enoch,
Got it.
because that's the only place, as far as I know. There may be some other reference that, as far as I know, that's the only place that is referenced about angels and marriage.
Okay.
When you read Peter and the book of Jude, they also talk about these angels that were chained away. These angels that were chained away in darkness, awaiting judgment. If you read through the quote unquote 66 books, you're not going to see why those angels were chained away. When you read Enoch, the book of Enoch, you see exactly why those angels were chained away.
No, I was gonna let you finish your thought, but you says we don't really know why. If we read those 66 books, we don't really know why those angels were
chained away in darkness.
chained away.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of Genesis talks about it because of the falling angels. They rebelled from God, and Satan or the devil, whatever his name is,
Yep.
took a third of them, and so they were cast out of heaven and awaited their judgment. That's what I got from it.
And so you see that a third of the angels fall with Satan, but they were not chained away. Not all of them. As far as we know, not all of them were chained away because Satan's not chained away currently. Satan's allowed, he's the God of this world. Remember, Satan is the God of this world. Satan deceives the whole world. Satan is allowed to work in this world. He's allowed to tempt people. He's allowed to manipulate things. And he's allowed to lead people away from the Most High.
Right.
He was able to tempt Job. He was able to affect Job's life because the Most High allowed him to. He attempted to tempt the Messiah because he was allowed to freely roam the earth.
Right.
He's allowed to manipulate things, and for a time being, he has some control, except he is only given the control that Most High allows him to have. And we always got to remember that he does not have the power to affect your life or significantly hinder your life unless you allow him to, through sin and all of those things. But he's allowed to manipulate until his time of judgment.
Right. And so that's when he will be chained up?
He'll be chained up we're fast forwarding a lot, but he'll be chained up for 1,000 years. And then after that 1,000 years, he's allowed to tempt one more time. And then he will completely face his judgment.
Interesting. I know we're jumping.
Yes.
This is how my mind works. Is like if I have the question, I would rather have the answer, and then we move back to what we were talking about, because my mind's just gonna be thinking about it the whole time, the whole day.
Absolutely.
But that's me. But that's very interesting. But moving forward to the rest of the scriptures, Genesis 5, right? Now that Enoch is taken away, he had a son named Lamech. Right.
Well, he had Methuselah and then
Methuselah and then Lamech and then Noah. Yeah. Right. But Lamech so far was the oldest person to ever lived.
Methuselah was.
What am I? Methuselah, the father of Lamech, right, was the oldest to ever live, and he lived 969 years. Hopefully I got that one right.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh my goodness. He's the oldest that ever lived. But since Enoch was taken away, wouldn't you say that he's the oldest one that ever lived? Because he's still living if he was never dead.
You can make that argument, but in terms of years, but let's say when you're starting to apply heaven and like eternity, time doesn't, time has no meaning or real meaning at that point.
Yeah.
Remember, time is a man-made construct, and it's a construct for our limited lives and our limitations. But when you're in eternity, time means nothing. We don't know.
Yeah.
The Most High exists out of time. So he doesn't live in present, past, future. He sees it all.
Right.
And so when you're in that eternity, you don't.
Can I add something to that though? I know we're jumping around, but the 1,000 years eternity, one day for God is 1,000 years for us, right? So those people that live in those times, don't you think that they live for like maybe an hour? So like for us, that's living 120 years, right? If it's 120 years for us, but a full day for God is like 1,000 years for us, wouldn't it mean like we live for like an hour in that sight of God? And that's how he's able to see the present, the future, the past, because he's seeing it all in one day. Or I'm just making stuff up. I'm just making stuff up.
No, not necessarily. So the 1,000 years is like a day to the Most High. That you can either take that literally, or it can be like metaphorically. You can take it. You can take it literally. And when you look at the cap, remember like the Adam curse. In the day that you eat, you shall surely die. And he lived to like 930 years, roughly. So he technically didn't surpass that day, and no one has surpassed that day, even Methuselah, who is the oldest recorded person, 969. He didn't even hit the 1,000, or he did not hit the 1,000. So you can make that argument that, hey, he technically died in a day, and some people will even talk about the creation story and say that one day, so day 2 was 1,000 years. Day 3 was 1,000 years. Day
Right.
4. So some people will make that argument. And that's kind of like reading into it and saying that we don't truly know.
True.
I can't push either way based on what opinion.
Because
I understand
the Bible
both. I
doesn't
understand
say.
both sides of the argument and both
Yeah,
sides
yeah.
of the coin. I applied to just 24-hour period, but everyone's different on that approach.
Yeah, it's just something cool to think about, you know?
It
'Cause
is.
The Bible says stuff, and when you start piecing stuff together, it's just like, whoa, dude. No worries. But yeah, go ahead.
And when you talk about that 120 years, 120 years, we see in Genesis 6 that the Most High capped human life
At
at 120 years.
Yeah.
And we will talk about that.
Just a second.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes.
All right. So now that we moved down to Noah, right? We found Methuselah, Lamech, and then now we are onto Noah, right?
Yes.
Methuselah, Lamech had Noah, right? And then he lived another 500 years. And he had, other children's after Noah, right?
Yep.
And then Noah didn't start, didn't have his children until 500 years, right?
Children were born. I think he had his children earlier.
Which one? Noah or
So Noah had his children.
Seth?
So he had
Japheth?
Seth, Ham, and Japheth, and
Right.
through those 3 are where everyone comes from. So everyone is from one of those 3 lines. It says that. So when you read the Genesis narrative, Genesis 5 narrative, it says that he's 500 years old and he begot those 3. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it happened at 500 years old.
Yeah.
And when you read books like the Book of Jubilees or Book of Jasher, which is also another controversial book, it gives you different ages. Like he had the sons at different age time points.
Okay.
But at least by 500 years old, these 3 sons existed.
Got it.
And we have to assume that they were adults because they had wives. They had wives, and those wives came onto the ark.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you think happens? I know we probably moving too far. What do you think happens to Noah's brothers, right? Because obviously his dad, Lamech, had to have a bunch of children.
Yep.
After Noah, he had sons and daughters. What happened to them?
Based on the story,
Yeah, based on the story and what the Bible says. I don't want to continue adding stuff.
So based on the story, they were corrupted.
Okay.
They were corrupted, and just like the rest of man, were wiped away for their sins. So when you read the Genesis 6 story, you see that Noah is righteous or set apart in his ways. And that did not mean he was perfect by any means, because he got drunk, he was a drunkard.
We just talked about that yesterday.
Yeah. So some people have different arguments about what that meant.
Okay.
Some people think that that means that he was the only clean DNA left on the earth, him and his sons, because of what the angels did.
Yeah, which we'll get to right after
Yes.
this question. We'll
Yeah.
get to, but
Yeah.
yeah. So talking about the angels, what the angels did, they're called the Nephilim, right? Or Nephilim.
The offspring of the angels are called the Nephilim.
Oh yeah, so the sons of God.
Yes.
Okay, my brain works differently. Okay, I read it, I understand it, and
Yeah.
then when I talk about it, I mix it up.
Yeah.
But the sons of God, which come onto this earth after they rebelled from God, got cast onto this earth, and they were living on this earth and saw that the sons and daughters, not sons and daughters, the daughters of men was beautiful, and they decided to pick and choose which they want to marry, and decided to have children with them.
Yeah.
Right? As a giant, who this says, like, I think the book says that, well, actually not totally sure about the Bible, what the Bible says, how tall they were, how big they were. Well, as a giant who's about what, maybe 15, 20 feet tall,
Some are much taller than that, but yes.
right?
Yeah.
How are they gonna have children with 6 feet tall, 5 feet tall women. I don't think that's humanly possible.
Yeah, but remember, you're dealing with angels and spiritual beings. You're also got to realize that you can't necessarily think of humans back then compared to what we are like now. Because Adam was vastly different from us. Remember, Adam was literally created by God, a perfect
Yeah.
human. And so we don't know how tall Adam was.
Got it. Yeah.
It's possible that a lot of these people were much bigger, taller,
yeah.
and than we are now and today.
Yeah.
They may have been born, they also could have been born normal size and immediately exploded and got massive,
Yeah.
massive over time. And remember, these people are living for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years. And if they're nonstop growing, we don't necessarily know the cap for their heights. We don't know the cap for how big they got. Everything would be speculation. We can't necessarily say that, oh, since we only grow to 5, 6, 7 feet, then, oh, they should only grow to that. Because obviously you get down to Goliath, he's 9 feet tall. And Goliath is one of the smaller giants compared to what they had in the past.
Yeah.
So,
which is very interesting. And also to add to that point, how can they have children with humans when in heaven there is no gender, right? Everybody, I think, right? Everybody is the same. There's no husband or wife, and everybody's just a spirit, right? And if those angels, those sons of God, are spirit, how were they able to have children with human beings unless they were the Holy Spirit who just like can manifest, inside of a woman's womb to allow her to be impregnated, just like Mary. If that, I don't know if I'm saying it right.
No, I understand the question you're saying, and I think that looking at the approach a little wrong.
Okay.
So because they're not given in marriage does not mean that there's not male and female. Also, angel really means messenger. So we classify angels as, these separate beings, but there's different types of angels that appear different.
Okay.
And as you read through the stories, you'll see how they appear. Some angels are much more human-like, and some angels look like monstrosities. In heaven, yes, they are not to reproduce, but these angels that came down lost their abode. They lost their form. They can transform in it. Remember, angels can transform and appear like humans. This is why when you read the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where they walk into town, they look like humans. Although Lot was able to recognize that they were spiritual, and we don't know that they were angels. We don't necessarily know why or classification. But when you fast forward to, I believe, the book of Hebrews, it talks about be careful how you interact with strangers because you may unknowingly be entertaining angels.
Right.
So some angels look completely human-like and they're indistinguishable. These angels can take on form. And the difference between angels and demons are spiritual beings, completely spiritual with no physical body. They cannot interact with the physical world by themselves, the spirit. They can take on and possess people, and that's how they interact, but they don't have physical bodies anymore. Angels can take on physical bodies.
But the demons are also the fallen angels, aren't they? They're the same thing.
No, some people like to classify them like that, but the scriptures don't distinguish them like that, because when you look at, so if you subscribe to the book of Enoch and like the book of Giants, it talks about these spirits, these demons come from the spirits of the giants. So since these giants, these Nephilim are part angel, part angelic, and part human.
Yeah.
When they died, the physical body dies, but the spiritual body remained. And those spiritual bodies became demons. And those demons are hateful because of their judgment. And we could talk about that judgment in a bit, but because of their hate, because of how they're formed and created, they didn't necessarily pass away like we do.
Okay.
And so their spirits remain on the earth. And some of them are bound up, and some of them are in the bottomless pit, which that's a completely separate tangent and side story for that. but they can take possession of humans, animals. This is why the Messiah cast out some of those demons, a lot of those demons into pigs.
Yeah.
And they can live through that. And so how they interact with the physical world is through living people and organisms. So,
Got
but
it.
angels do not need a host. As far as we know, angels don't possess people.
Okay.
I don't think there's any recorded scripture about that, but angels don't possess people. They can take on physical form. They can appear human. They can appear in their spiritual form, and they can interact like that. These watchers, they come down and see, now they lost their heavenly abode. And this is what the book of Jude talks about, how these angels lost their heavenly form to come down and corrupted themselves. And the book of Enoch talks about this, how when these angels do this, they corrupted their bodies. They've sinned against the Most High because they did something that they were not allowed to do or is not supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're called the Watchers. Enoch calls them the Watchers, or the book of Enoch calls them the Watchers, because they were assigned to watch over Earth. They were assigned to monitor humans, watch humans, I guess help humans, and interact with humans as needed.
Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but why were they? I mean, I'm just asking. Why were they assigned to watch the earth when they were cast out of heaven? So were they assigned before the devil or Satan or whatever corrupted them to follow him, or was it like after they got cast out, they were watching over the earth?
Different speculation, different opinions, because there's even arguments about when the fall happened. So people have made different arguments about when Satan and the third rebelled against the Most High. Did it happen before Earth was created? Did it happen around the time Earth was created? Did it happen even later than that? Different arguments.
Yeah.
Different side points, understand different side points. I don't necessarily have a set definitive, this is how it happened, this is exactly the way it goes, because the scriptures aren't necessarily fully clear as far as I know, or I haven't studied it enough to fully definitively come up with that perfect timeline. But these angels were assigned. It's not clear if these were clearly fallen angels. At the time before they did this, would say probably not, because they were assigned different provinces and told to do something. They were given a task by the Most High to watch over the affairs of men.
Yeah.
And they decided at that point, those women look great. Why don't we marry them? And through that, in exchange for marriage, they taught humans things that they weren't supposed to learn.
Right.
Things that went against the Most High. This is where we get astrology from. They taught them astrology. They taught them how to read the sun, the moon, the stars, and try to predict things. They taught them divination and like how to conjure spirits. They taught them war. They taught them how to make weapons of war. They taught them makeup, eyes, and how to seduce. They taught them all of these things that were abomination. They taught them how to manipulate herbs, herbs and stuff that the Most High initially created for our good, and how to twist it in their own favor. And because of all of this, this is the reason that these angels were judged heavily. And these angels were chained up. So the judgment pronounced on these watchers were chained up in everlasting darkness until the day of judgment. So they are not allowed to even interact with the world until Judgment Day, where they'll receive their final sentence.
Yeah. Okay. As you were talking, my mind was just like questions, right? So Adam and Eve, I'm starting from the beginning now.
Yep.
Adam and Eve sinned. They got cast out of heaven.
Yep.
Right? And my guess is the devil rebelled against God probably right before that time.
Probably.
Right?
Yep.
And then he goes and tempted Adam and Eve. And so God cast him out too. or whatever his gender is.
Yeah.
Right.
He cursed them. Yep.
Cursed him. So therefore, after he get cursed, he's gonna be warming the earth on his belly, right? My guess would be that's when he, got kicked out of heaven and fall like lightning onto this earth, right? So therefore, his angels, the ones that he corrupted, had to get cast out with him,
Yeah. They were.
right? So how were the watchers watching over the human beings in different provinces
Yeah.
when there was literally nobody on this earth? Because Adam and Eve did not have made love until after they found out they were naked.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So after they found out they were naked, that's when God is like, you gotta go, because if you eat from this tree, you're gonna live like that forever, right?
Yeah.
So that's when they got cast out. The devil, I'm guessing, also got cast out too, because obviously of what he did.
He was probably cast out before that, but
Yeah, right. So there was nobody else on this earth. So who were the watchers watching over?
well,
You get what I mean, though?
Well, see, the thing is, when you read the timeline of Genesis,
Yeah.
you got to understand that it's only talking about a specific set of people. It's only
Okay.
talking about certain people.
Mm-hmm.
It does not tell you exactly how many people existed on the earth. It does not tell you how many. You also got to remember that there's a whole lot of other creation that the Most High has. This is why when you read the revelation that John, Messiah's revelation that John is given at the end, he sees creatures that he wasn't aware of and different beings. So the Most High has created things that we don't know about. And remember, these people, they lived hundreds of years and had many kids. We only Genesis stories only talking about a set group of kids. It's talking about a set group of people. It talks about what happened to Cain and his line. It talks about what happens to Seth and his line. And as Seth, we get down to Noah. But it doesn't talk about how many thousands and millions of people existed and how quickly they had kids and things like that. So we don't know exactly how many people were there. And at the time of the Watchers and at the time that this happens, there's already a lot of people on the earth. There's a significant amount of people on the earth by the time we get to Noah.
Yeah, but that makes sense. But wouldn't they be cast out before that, though? Because obviously the devil had to, they had to move the devil. Because I don't think that the whole earth was filled with people yet until the devil.
Yeah,
right?
It was concentrated. It was concentrated in small regions.
Yeah.
In our small region that they were at the time, as far as we know.
Because the devil had it in his heart to tempt Adam and Eve, right?
Yep.
After he saw that God had created human beings. Like, why would you create human beings? And he wanted the human beings to worship him because he thought, I'm guessing, that we were less than him, right? And so he thought he wanted to be worshipped. So therefore, he had ego and he had all this stuff and got, I'm guessing, cast out right away. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know if I'm asking the right question, but it's just...
I think you have to twist and change the way you approach it.
Okay.
So what was Satan's ultimate goal? Or what is his ultimate goal?
To take as many people as possible. Well, now, to be worshipped as God.
Yeah. He wants to be like the Most High.
Right.
That's very clearly outlined in Isaiah and I believe also in Ezekiel. He wants to be like the Most High. He wants to ascend to heaven and sit on the throne of the Most High. That is his goal. That has always been his goal. That will continually be his goal, even though he knows he will fail at this. He's already failed and got kicked out and has no access to the most holy of holies. He does not have access to that.
Yeah.
And so in his rebellion and in his anger and his frustration, he wants to take it out on the people. He wants the people to worship him and detract their praise from the Most High, remember, the Most High is jealous. The Most High is a jealous Elohim. He's a jealous God, and he wants his praise. He wants to be worshiped, he wants to be loved, he wants to be adored, and anything that gets in the way of that angers the Most High. So the devil's goal is to get people to no longer focus on the Most High, but to focus on Him, ideally focus on Him. But even if they're not focused on Him, as long as they're not focusing on the Most High, it's a win to Him. So if He can get you distracted and focused on life, job,
Different things. Yeah.
all the like little things that are important, but not that important, or not the most important thing. If he can get you to focus on any of those things, it's a win. He doesn't have to convince you to worship Him. He just has to convince you to worship something else outside of the Most High. So that's part of his goal. And it is ultimately to lead as many people away to share in his judgment as well. But his true task that he set for himself is to ascend and be like the Most High. So everything he does is with that intention in mind.
Got it.
And how you approach the scriptures, especially when we get to eventually the Tower of Babel, things like that, you have to approach it in that mindset. Why are the people doing these things? Why is the devil and his followers doing these things? Why are the fallen angels doing these things? It's all towards that one goal.
Gotcha.
Get to heaven and rebel.
Yeah.
It's all about rebellion. So
Got it. The question that I'm still thinking about is still not fully clear, but we can talk about it off air because people are like, wow, I'm getting anxious now. But now that we move, the angels did what they did and God found that man was evil, right? And then he had regretted making human beings. God, who's almighty, all powerful, all knowing, created beautiful human beings, wonderful human beings. Yes, we are sick. We are just horrible human beings, and we deserve death, right? But why would he regretted creating us when he knows the future, the present, and the past?
So the regret, it's not necessarily like regret, like, dang, I completely messed up and screwed up. It's a deep sorrow. He's deeply sorrowed at his creation. He is sad about what's happening to his creation. He's sad about the decision that they're making. He knew it was going to happen. He gave free will. And it's the thing. Remember, the Most High could have made robots. We can be robots, don't even have a choice to rebel in that matter, or an option. He didn't. He was intentional about it because he wants us to choose him. He doesn't want us to be forced to pick him. He wants us to choose him. If you just take that account in Genesis, it gives a rough idea, but if you go to the book of, that's why it's good to read those other books, because they give a bit more detail and context. So when you read the book of Enoch, and it talks about this from like chapter 6 to around chapter 10, it talks about what these Nephilim and giants were doing. It talks about what these fallen angels were doing. Remember, they are corrupting his creation. They are corrupting, remember, Genesis 1, everything he made, good. Everything he made, perfect. You get to this point and everything is being corrupted and destroyed. The giants are eating all the produce that men are creating and then they eventually start eating the people. And then all of a sudden the people are crying out. In Enoch, they're saying the people are crying out because they're being completely oppressed and overrun by these giants and monsters that they can't win against. They can't fight against. And you see the Most High pronounces judgment on all of them. And in the book of Jubilees, in the book of Enoch, it talks about what he does to the Nephilim and giants. Because remember, even despite it all and the fact that we mess up, you see this consistent theme that he takes care of his people and wants them to turn back. Adam and Eve sin, he creates skin for them since they felt like they were naked, they discovered they were naked, he clothed them. Cain sinned, puts a mark on him, lets him go, and used for his protection. Boom. You get to the people, they sin, and because of their sin, giants are overrunning the earth. Nephilim are overrunning the earth. These fallen angels, these angels, are having dominion over the earth that they were not given. Remember, the angels were not given dominion over the earth.
Right.
Adam was. So Adam and his seed were given dominion over the earth. The earth was specifically created for humans to have dominion over. And they are losing their dominion because of this right here about these fallen angels.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Most High's judgment is destroying all of these giants, chaining up those fallen angels,
Mm-hmm.
and flooding the earth and resetting the earth and starting over. During that time frame, because from the moment that the judgment's pronounced to the time that it actually happens, different texts will say different things, but most estimate around 100 to 120 years is how long it took before it actually happened. The Most High pronounces he's going to flood the earth. Noah's building the ark. And in the book of, I believe, Jasher, it talks about him and Methuselah are preaching, warning the people to turn back to the Most High
Mm-hmm.
in preparation before this judgment happens. So it wasn't just Most High looking down, yeah, this is terrible, this is awful. You know what? Judgment, boom, in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, he gave time.
Yeah.
And that's how he's always operated. He's always operated in that patience and peace and giving people opportunity. The reason he doesn't act right away is because he wants people to turn away. He wants people to turn back to him, turn away from the wrong that they're doing and turn back to him. That is the reason why he waits and is patient.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is a sidetrack, but in the future, when you read later on, you'll see a lot of the prophets,
Yeah.
they're dealing with the Israelites and the stiff-necked and the disobedient and the Most High judging them and the people crying out. But one of the things a lot of the prophets will note is, why are the wicked prospering? They will see, like, look at these nations. They're out here sacrificing kids. They're destroying and desecrating your law. They're doing whatever they want. And yet they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
They are quote unquote winning at life. While we, or the few of us, are being righteous and we are suffering.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is the reason the Most High does not judge the wicked right away is to give them every opportunity to turn back from their wickedness.
Mm-hmm.
That is why, because I used to have that question too, and still question that sometimes. All right, why do people keep getting away with these things?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the Most High giving them an opportunity. In the same way that the Most High is patient with you and me and anyone else and our sin, and he did not judge us right away, he doesn't judge the wicked right away.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that is wonderful. I thank you, God, for
yes.
taking your time.
Yes.
But now that you touch on the flood that happened, right? Noah built the ark, and God gave him specific instructions to build the ark so that way he can fit him and his family and his kids and their family, and 2 of every animal, clean and unclean, right? Why would we 7? I think
7 of the
each.
clean.
Yeah.
So 7 of the clean and 2 of the unclean.
Yeah, but why would God put the unclean into the boat if they are unclean, if that makes sense?
Yeah, because the unclean animals still have a role. Remember, the unclean clean designation was for Eden. It's for eating the animals. Their purposes still exist. So, for example, take shrimp. Shrimp and lobster, those are unclean animals.
Mm-hmm.
But they play a vital role in nature's ecosystem. They are bottom feeders.
Mm-hmm.
They clean. They're pretty much garbage. The garbage people. Garbage animals.
It tastes amazing,
Yes.
though. I don't know if I should be eating it, but they are garbage animals. But
So if you follow the scriptures, you should not.
yeah,
And he has reasons for that. That they're designed to clean up and do the cycle and the recycling of nature. So all the waste products that all the other animals are producing, they eat that.
mm-hmm.
The reason you should ingest that is because you're directly eating the waste of them. So,
Yeah. Well,
so there's a reason why he designated animals that we should eat and shouldn't eat. The animals have parasites, make you sick.
Cancer and all.
Cancer, yeah, all of those things can be associated with that. But really, it should always come back to because the Most High said so. Why should you do it? Because the Most High said so. Why shouldn't you do it? Because the Most High said so. That should be at the end where it stops. But of course, us being rebellious, we're like, but why? Why can't I do that? Instead of focusing on what we can do, we always focus on the things that we can't do. And that is the lack of contentment. That is the lack of contentment. And also really what it is distrust. It's a distrust of the Most High having our best interests in mind. We got to remember that everything that he does, says, and appoints is for a particular reason. And a lot of times we may not understand what that reason is in the moment. But just because we don't understand it does not mean that it's not great for us to do or be obedient to.
Yeah.
Remember, we think we're only given the present. We're only given this very moment. The future is not guaranteed. Tomorrow doesn't exist. There's no such thing as tomorrow. If you make it into tomorrow, it's your present. It's your new present. But you are not guaranteed tomorrow. We make plans for tomorrow. We hope tomorrow comes, but you're not guaranteed that. And the fact that we can't even see 5 minutes ahead, we can't even see an hour ahead of time, but we question the Most High who sees all of it, shows a lack of wisdom. It shows a lack of knowledge, and it shows a lack of trust in the Most High's great plan. We can have questions. Obviously, you should question, ask questions. That's what all the prophets did. That's what he wants us to do. Ask questions. But if we don't get our answer right away.
Some people don't like questions.
Yeah, some people don't. The Most High answers our questions. A lot of times we don't like the answer to them, but that's a hard issue. That's a hard issue in not being fully aligned with the will of the Most High. And sometimes we don't even get the answer in a moment. And it's not until, of course, the hindsight where we look back at, oh, that's why he told us to go that direction. Oh, that's why he closed that door on me. That's why he made me go through this. It's not until we look back at it that we truly understand it. But in the moment, it is hard to see that. But
yeah, that makes sense. Now that we pass the flood now, right? Because God wiped everybody off the earth because obviously of how sinful we were, right? But now let's go back to the Nephilims, right? The sons and daughters of the sons of God, right? First, it's not their fault that their parents decided to, create them. Why are they pretty much being in trouble, right? And facing eternal judgment, which I'm guessing all of them were. I don't know if none of them repented or found God. I don't know because I never lived back then. But it's not their fault. Why are they facing that?
Okay. So here's the thing about sin. One of the things you have to understand with sin is that sometimes the consequences of sin are met with people who did not commit the sin. Think about the drunk driver who drives, crashes, kills the innocent family driving home, and they survive. That's not right. The drunk driver is the one who messed up, and yet someone who was innocent passed away from it. Sometimes you face the sins of your parents. Your parents do something messed up, and you have to bear the brunt of it. You have generational curses. So-and-so grandparents did this, parents follow the same line, kids follow the same line, and someone has to break that curse and cycle. So unfortunately, when we sin, we don't always face the consequences. Other people get hurt in the matter. The thing about the Nephilim was they were not innocent. Here's the thing. The Most High is a righteous and just judge. The Nephilim could have turned to the Most High. Obviously, this is speculation. Yeah, it's not going to be some magical scripture that says, oh, the Nephilim had zero chance or opportunity to do that. But when you read the scriptures, it shows that the Nephilim did a whole lot of wickedness. They were rebellious. They were angry and rebellious. They destroyed the earth. They didn't follow the ways of the Most High. When you read about the laws of the Most High have always existed. They existed before Moses. This is why Adam and Eve were given the first commandment, or Adam was given the first commandment. But even as you go through their generations, the laws were still in place, like keeping the Sabbath. Those things were still in place. The fact that Noah delineates clean versus unclean means that they were clearly being taught what the Most High desires and what he does not. These Nephilim knew that. Remember, these are powerful beings. These are the men of renown. Genesis 6 calls them the men of renown. These are where we get our mythology from. These are where you get Hercules, Thor, all of those stories, Poseidon. When you hear all of these stories, especially like in Greek mythology, where you have gods come down, reproduce with humans, create demigods, that's the Genesis story. That is the fallen angels coming down, being worshipped as gods, reproducing with humans, and creating these half god, half human beings. That's what they are. So they should, in all intents and purposes, be wise. Everyone has the opportunity to follow the Most High. Not everyone chooses to. They chose destruction. They chose rebellion.
Yeah.
And that's why they were judged. If they chose righteousness, and the Most High is righteous, it would be assumed that they would be saved. But they were not. They existed outside of the Most High's appointed creation, because if the Most High wanted those kind of beings, he would have made them. He did not. They were angry. They destroyed humans. They destroyed the earth, and they corrupted the earth. And they were judged accordingly.
So you just said that if God wanted beings like that, he would have created them.
Yeah.
Right? God creates everything. Everything that was made made through him, right? Through Jesus Christ, Yeshua, right? We were made through him. So wouldn't the Nephilims made through him?
Hey. There was the opportunity for them to be made, but they were not the Most High's intention. Here's the reality of life. The Most High has set plans and has intentions for our lives. He has a set path and direction for everyone to walk in. But we choose which route we go. We get to choose the direction. So there's some people who are like, yeah, your life is predetermined and you have no say in your life. Not true at all. You have say in your life. You have the opportunity to follow the Most High or not. You get to choose that. The Most High's plans and will be done with or without our help. So you can either take part in his great will and plan and celebrate and reap the benefits, or you can rebel against the plan, and yet the plan will still be done without you. Just because things happen does not mean that that was the intention and plan for the life and direction. Just like in our lives, something bad happens. We make a wrong decision and something bad happens. That was not the Most High's intention for that to happen, especially if we acted outside of his will. That was not the Most High's intention, but it happened because of our own decisions.
Right.
And the Most High still works in spite of our mess ups and in spite of our mistakes. And the story, the whole Bible and scriptures are littered with a whole bunch of screw ups who the Most High still chose to work with. Remember, not a single person that's outlined in these scriptures was a great, perfect person outside of the Messiah. Everyone was a mess up, screw up, and has rebelled against the Most High. And yet the Most High still chose to use those screw ups for his great will.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to find this Bible verse for my next question. It talks about, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know exactly where it's at, but it talks about the Nephilim was before the giants, was before and after.
Yep.
So I'm guessing like before and after the flood.
Yes.
Right.
It's talking about before and after the flood. And I believe that's in Genesis 6 as well.
Yeah.
Where it talks about that. And yep, in Genesis 6:4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in the New King James, it would say, there were giants in the earth in those days and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And a lot of translations will use Nephilim. The King James uses giants. And the way I see it are Nephilim are half angel, half human beings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not stated that all of them are massive giants. Some of them could have been normal sized, and some of them can be insanely tall. So it would be all giants are Nephilim, but not all Nephilim are giants.
Got it. Yeah.
So King James switches to giant, uses the translation of giant, but that's not necessarily correct. It would be Nephilim for your depiction.
So why would they be before and after when God literally destroys everything on this earth, even the earth itself, like trees and everything?
Yeah. Topic highly debated, but guess is it happened again. The fallen angels did the same thing again.
Interesting.
So remember, when these fallen angels are judged, the 200 watchers are judged, and Enoch, they're chained up. But a third of the angels fell. The third of the angels fell in the rebellion. So we don't know how many angels that is. And it's clear, or likely clear, or I guess in my opinion, that some of those angels did the same thing again. Other people would argue that one of the sons of Noah, likely Ham, since Ham is the rebellious seed, that seed became the rebellious seed, had either him or his wife were already corrupted, and their seed propagated that. The text doesn't say that.
What do you mean by corrupted?
So some people speculate that when it says the angels corrupted men and animals, also animals, that they altered DNA and changed them to no longer be, quote unquote, fully human.
Okay.
So they became monstrosities, they became offsprings, they became breeds that the Most High didn't intend for, and no longer the fully human. And so when you see the word that Noah was righteous, it meant that his DNA was the only clean, perfect DNA. Like his DNA was not corrupted by what was going on with those angels, the fallen angels. And to some people, that is to fulfill the purpose, because remember, Genesis 3:15 is the first prophecy about the seed of the woman. But if all seed was corrupted, then you would no longer have the seed of the woman.
Yeah.
It would be the seed of the fallen angels and the devil and stuff, instead of the seed of the woman. But if Noah was righteous and just and his line was still clean compared to the rest of the world, you could still fulfill that prophecy.
Interesting.
So, but that's obviously speculation, and there's arguments against that. And some people say you're reading into the text too much and it doesn't clearly say that or state that. But that's just one of the opinions that are outlined. So I would always recommend people read for themselves and come to draw their own conclusion, pray about it. It's not the most important thing, but my opinion is that the same thing happened again. The fallen angels did the same thing and created those corruptions again.
But how could they have, if they have fallen from heaven and they lost their forms, right? Which I'm guessing they don't have wings to fly, and the earth would have water all over the place.
Yeah.
So wouldn't they also die? Which doesn't make sense because they are also eternal.
So
You get what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think Hollywood and all of that has created an awful narrative of what angels are.
Okay.
Everyone thinks that angels are just these beings with wings that just fly around and do whatever. Yeah, it's not. It's not true. And people believe that, well, look, all right, he got kicked out of heaven. That means he has zero access to heaven. Heaven is broken up into multiple layers.
Mm-hmm.
So when you read Paul, he talks about getting caught up to the third heaven, and that's where the Most High's throne is.
Mm-hmm.
When you read the story of Daniel, he gets to see the throne of the Most High. But there's different layers of heaven. When you read the book of Enoch, it talks about different layers of heaven and different routes. Because they were kicked out of heaven doesn't necessarily mean they were unable to access. They were just kicked out of the holiest of holies. They're
Mhm.
not allowed to be at the highest realm or place where the Most High sits.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't say anything about the lower heavens.
So they would be able to go back there if there's flood on the earth. They would be able to go back there.
Yeah,
for
the
shelter.
angels were not destroyed by the flood. The angels were not destroyed by the flood. If they were, then we wouldn't even be having the story of Satan and all this stuff and anything that happens. They clearly lived.
Mm-hmm.
Where they dwelled, that's up for speculation, but they can be in the lower heavens. And you got to remember, read the book of Job. The Most High has a meeting and council with angels, and the devil pulls up.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High is asking, "Yo, where'd you come from?" And he's like, he's going all over. He's going to and from the earth, but he's able to come and talk to the Most High.
I thought he didn't have access to the Most High though.
He don't have access to the throne, but if the Most High calls him, he
Yeah.
talk. Remember, he's the accuser of the brethren. That's what Satan is. He's an
Mhm.
accuser. So every time you sin, him and his fallen are like, "See, told you. Look at this creation that you created.
Mhm.
They all mess up. They don't listen to you."
Yeah.
That's all he does. That's all he sits there and does because he's upset that the Most High forgives. This is why he tries to give you those feelings of supreme guilt. We're guilty because we messed up. But he tries to convince us not to go back to the Most High because he knows how the Most High operates with us, his creation. When we mess up and we turn back to him,
Yeah.
he receives us with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still have consequences? Yes. But he receives us with open arms and restores us. The only way to stop that from happening is for us to not go to the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
for us to not turn to the Most High. The story of the prodigal son, which I know I'm going on a tangent.
No
Sorry.
worries, yeah.
But the story of the prodigal son, the father was sitting outside looking for his son, waiting for his son to come back.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just give up on his son. It's like, well, it is what it is. Otherwise, he would have saw his son from afar off and run out to meet him when the son finally turned back. The Most High is doing the same thing. He's looking, actively looking, waiting for us to come back. He will never force us to come back, but he wants us to make that decision because the moment we make that decision to come back to him, he's ready to do his work in us.
Mm-hmm.
And so the devil's job is to prevent that from happening. And our job is really simple. Listen to the Most High and turn back to him. That's our job. And then the Most High does the rest.
Yeah. My brain
Yeah.
brain hurts today
Sorry.
because I still have so many questions. But is there anything that we have not covered today that we should cover before the end? Because we are running out of time. There's on top of your notes. Yep.
Yep.
But what else should we cover?
Big thing, the important thing to understand is, once again, the Most High sees what's happened and begs us to come back.
Mm-hmm.
He still pulls us back to him. And I think actually the biggest thing is tribulation happens. Tribulation will happen in life. We're guaranteed tribulation.
Mm-hmm.
And when we pray, we shouldn't ask the Most High to take away the tribulation. We should pray for strength to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Noah had to go through the flood. Noah and his children had to go through the flood. The Most High didn't just pull them up to heaven, flood the earth, and then, all right, and drop them back off. All right, reset, earth's clean. Guys, take care of it.
Mm-hmm.
He made them go through it. In the same way, when we go through life, when we go through tribulation and the tribulation that's here and then at times, we go through it.
Mm-hmm.
There's this stuff about like we talked about that rapture and stuff, and the Most High is going to take us all away. Everything bad's going to happen to Earth, but we're good.
Mm-hmm.
No, nope. We're going through tribulation, and we have to have strength and pray to endure to the end. That's why the scriptures always say endure to the end. So whatever tribulation in life and problems that you're having, endure to the end. Ask for strength
Mm-hmm.
to endure it, and the Most High delivers us through it.
Mm-hmm. It's harder said than done, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely.
But yeah, that is the lesson that we should learn though, is, because everybody will go through something in their life, and
Yes.
it's not gonna be easy.
No.
But just like Noah, he got through it because he had God in his corner to allow him to
Yeah.
get through it. And that's the same access that we have to him, to the Most High. So
Absolutely.
Listen for it.
And one more thing, sorry.
No, please, yeah.
One more thing is Noah was righteous
Mhm.
in his ways. His righteousness would not have saved him if he was not obedient.
Mhm.
When you have faith, there's actions attached to it. You cannot just believe. You have to act. If Noah did not act and build the ark, his story ends here. We're not even having a story anymore. It's all about the obedience aspect, and the obedience is action. So if the Most High calls you to do something, you do it. Your righteousness does not save you. You being good in his eyes does not save you. It is faith, and then it's obedience. There's obedience attached to that faith. They're inseparable.
Mhm.
They are inseparable. So if you have faith, you obey.
Mhm.
You have to obey. You can't separate the two. Because if you're not obeying, then you don't have faith. That's plain and simple. So
Yeah.
it's either faith, obey, or no faith,
Mhm.
and you're disobeying. So you can't have it either way.
Both. Yeah. That makes sense.
Mhm.
That makes sense. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is it for today for Genesis 5 and 6. If you haven't yet, start reading from Genesis 1 until Genesis 6, and then obviously continue. But that will be the lesson for next week, which will be Genesis 7 and 8, I
Yeah.
believe. So
7 and 8.
we're moving slowly, but surely we'll get to the end of the book, okay? So I thank you for allowing us to speak with you or speak to you or however you want to see it. Thank you for allowing us to be on your screen today. But
Absolutely.
be God, all the glory to God for allowing us to be here. So, but that is it for today. I hope that you have an amazing day. God bless.
God bless and read your word.
And read your word. Now I'm going to
Yes.
sleep because I'm tired.